Pinera. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. May I request your kind attention for the arrival for the Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Business and Cooperation of the Republic of Suriname, His Excellency Melvin Bova, and the Minister of External Affairs of the Republic of India, Dr. Jaishankar. You may be seated. On behalf of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Business and Cooperation of the Republic of Suriname, His Excellency Melvin Bova, a warm welcome to the guest of honor, the Minister of External Affairs of the Republic of India, Dr. Jaishankar, and delegation, members of the Council of Ministers, members of the National Assembly, representatives of high state organs, members of the Corps Diplomatic and representatives of international organizations, staff of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Business and Cooperation of the Republic of Suriname, honorary consuls in the Republic of Suriname, members of the academic community, business leaders, investors and sponsors, distinguished guests, representatives of the media, people of the Republic of Suriname, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jair Cross, and it is a true honor and privilege to be your Master of Ceremonies tonight. May I now give the floor to the former Ambassador of the Republic of Suriname to the Republic of India, our moderator tonight, Her Excellency Ashna Kanhai.
Thank you, my dear colleague, Jair. Good afternoon, honorable ministers, ambassadors, and spouses, if applicable, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Dr. Subrahmanyam Jaishankar is India's External Affairs Minister since May 30th, 2019. He is a member of the Upper House, Rajya Sabha, of India's Parliament from the state of Gujarat. He was Foreign Secretary from 2015 till 2018, Ambassador to the United States from 2013 till 2015, Ambassador to China between 2000 and 2004. He was High Commissioner to Singapore between 2007 and 2009. He also served in other diplomatic assignments in embassies, in global corporate affairs at Tata Sons Private Limited. Dr. S. Jaishankar is a graduate of Stephens College, MPhil and PhD in International Relations from Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi. He has also been confirmed a PhD honoris causa by the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, in recognition of his contributions to diplomacy, public service, and scholarship. He is a recipient of the Padma Shri Award in 2019 and has written 2 best-selling books, The India Way, Strategies for an Uncertain World, published in 2020, and Why Bharat Matters, published in 2024. Both books have been translated and published in multiple Indian and foreign languages. please allow me to quote Dr. Jaishankar as follows. India is today on a voyage of self-discovery, and the lessons of Awadh are its surest compass in that quest. Pranam, Adarniya Mantri ji. Ram, Tohar ka hal ba? You may answer. Tohar ka hal ba?
हमारे हाल तो बहुत हुई, आप सबके साथ यहाँ बैठने का मौका मिला, हमारे दोस्त के साथ, आप सबके साथ, तो हमारी ओर से भी राम राम।
सीताराम, हम अवधि में बोलीला, हम ठीक बाती। I greet you in Awadhi, Dr. Jaishankar. That Awadhi, which is part of the Dharohar, as taken by the Kantrakis to Suriname, and is the core of our own Sarnami Hindi. Our lingua franca directs me to say one sweetie konaini. That means I wish you a warm welcome. Mahamahim deliver the keynote speech. Who is going to say the welcome, sir? Oh, you will. I think my minister is going to have a welcoming. I thought you were going to do the vote.
Yes. The Minister of External Affairs of the Republic of India, Excellency Subrahmanyam Jaishankar and delegation, members of the Council of Ministers, their colleagues, members of the National Assembly, representatives of the high state organs, members of the Corps Diplomatique and representatives of international organizations, honorary consuls in the Republic of Suriname, members of the academic community, business leaders, investors, and sponsors, distinguished guests, representatives of the media, people of the Republic of Suriname, and while I think on the internet, also of India, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. It is a profound honor to welcome you all to this commemorative lecture on the occasion of the official visit to the Republic of Suriname of His Excellency Dr. Jaishankar, my colleague and dear friend of the Republic of India. I take the opportunity to share some reflective thoughts as we are gathered not merely to mark a date on the calendar or just a moment in the hectic program of this visit, but to Jaishankar, Minister of External Affairs of the Republic of India, at this auspicious commemoration of the Golden Jubilee of the establishment of diplomatic ties between our respective countries. I recall our first meeting in the margins of the 80th United Nations General Assembly in New York last year, and our phone call in November on the occasion of Suriname's Independence Day, where we expressed our intention for your visit to Suriname, an intention now realized through. We equally recognize, Dr. Shankar, that your presence here marks the first time that a Minister of External Affairs of India visits Suriname in the recent history, a significant momentum jointly commemorating 5 decades of fruitful ties and also highlighting a historical bond of 153 years of Indian immigration in June this year in Suriname. The theme of this lecture, Partnership for Progress, not only complements our ambition or even our joint exhibition, which we will commence hereafter, but also captures the spirit of mutual trust, shared values, and collective responsibility between our respective countries. For Suriname, establishing formal relations with India was more than an act of diplomacy. Recognition of a bond that had existed before 1976, a bond carried across the Kalapani by our ancestors who arrived on the shores of Suriname, bringing with them the soul of India. Through these past decades, India has proven to be more than a partner to us. India has been a Krishna guru, illustrating how a developing nation can leverage technology and democracy to lift millions out of poverty. Conversely, Suriname has stood as a proud beacon of culture, also the Indian culture in the Caribbean and South America. Suriname is known for its multicultural and multi-ethnic community, proudly contributing to the Surinamese melting pot. Hence, the government under leadership of President Jennifer Simmons dedicated the month of August from this year as the Heritage Month to jointly celebrate the diversity and unity of our people. Therefore, the phrase of our national anthem, hoe wij hier ook samen kwamen, how we came here, undeniably resembles who we are. As we reflect on those 50 years, we see a path of extending cooperation, from agriculture and health to capacity building and development partnership. As reflected in our yesterday concluded 9th Joint Commission meeting, we are moving up gears within our partnership, progressing to a stronger and more strategic alliance. As a result of our talk, we have identified clear fields and cooperation with a direct impact on our countries and our peoples. This is what foreign policy needs to stand for. We have agreed to undertake concrete steps to expand and diversify our economic engagement with a focus on increased trade and investment through our national trade and investment agenda. Support agricultural development with reference to today's handing over of the technical installation of the MCP agro fruit processing line, wherefore we also thank you. Development cooperation and also capacity building, which is also identified as a key pillar within our partnership. This lecture, therefore, is also intended to reflect on an important question. Where does the path lead us for the next 50 years? Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our multicultural and religious Suriname is now on the scope of an offshore and gas and oil development, and is known to be a gateway to the Caribbean and to South America, the Amazon, as we know, where our forest gives fresh air and life to the world. Our fertile lands can feed the region, and our diversity can be a lively attraction for tourists all over the world. This and more is what we have to offer. India is a technological powerhouse and one of the world's most largest economies and populous nations, essential ingredients to help shape our collective vision to a brighter future for our nation. There is room for increased investment in Suriname's strategic sectors, to call on mining, agriculture, tourism, infrastructure, and social sectors. And therefore, I want to see more Surinamese students studying IT and AI in Hyderabad. And I want to see enhanced business collaboration. I want to see our people of both our countries enjoy the connection within our common cultural heritage, just like I enjoy my Indian cultural outfit today. We are one, we nawang. We are one, we nawang. May this lecture therefore provide relevant insights that will fuel us with hope and aspirations, and we enter a new era of our partnership. Thank you to the government of India for walking this road with us. The best way to honor the past is to create a brighter future, and that is where we stand for. Thank you, Bedankt, Dinjabad. Thank you.
So I go back. Mahamahim, may I first thank my minister for the profound speech. Thank you so much. Hyderabad is, by the way, the hometown of the Honorable Minister. May I warmly invite you to deliver the keynote speech, Dr. Jaishankar.
Your Excellency, Foreign Minister Melvin Boffa, Excellencies, colleagues from Foreign Ministry, it's really a great pleasure for me today to join you all and speak on the theme of partnership for progress. While it is a tough place, the world needs to see progress. And the answer to progress in a tough place are partnerships. So today, what I would like to do is to present to you the importance of partnerships to realize progress in a tough world. Now, before I do that, Ambassador, you triggered some thoughts about Awadh. Awadh, for those of you who are not familiar, it's an important, historically very wealthy part of India in the north along plains. Many Indo-Surinamese trace their ancestry back to Awadh. But the reference in my book had a particular meaning. And the meaning derived from a very famous movie by film director Satyajit Ray. In that movie, in this very rich province, very rich state, two nobles of that state are engrossed in a chess game. In fact, the movie itself is called Chess Players. And while they are engrossed entirely in the chess game, the lessons of Awadh was a phrase meant to say, don't be oblivious to what is happening. And in a world which I said is a tough place, yes, to all the challenges in the world, all the complexity, all the issues which in one way or the other can impinge on our personal futures, who were so engrossed by themselves, eventually saw their kingdom taken over, and with all the attendant consequences, which was an enormous impoverishment, richest kingdoms of India, and consequently, many people who were sent out to the world as indentured labor. So with that lesson in mind, let me now come back to my topic, and let me start with the state of this tough world. So why do I use that word, tough world? Think about the world. Let's use a cutoff point, okay? The beginning of this decade. And what did we start with? The COVID. Took over 2 years of our lives. You know, life really came to a standstill, enormous casualties, complete disruption of social fabric, huge economic consequences, and problems, scars which many societies bear even today. Now, as we were getting out of the COVID, 2 years later, we had a conflict that began in Ukraine, which people at that time thought would last days or weeks or perhaps at best a month. And we are now into its 5th year. Not just any old conflict, a conflict which actually has had tremendous global consequences. It has impacted food security, fertilizer security, definitely energy flows, and actually in many ways reshaped the geopolitics of a very important, very vital part of the world. Since then, we've had many other turbulent developments as well. On the economic side, I think the tariff volatility and market access issues have actually impacted the international economy in a way in which we could not have conceived of. We've also seen in many ways a polarization of the world where whether it is on natural resources, critical minerals, technology, connectivity, and then last year we had a conflict in the Gulf. That itself came out of what happened in it. And through all of this, what we are seeing in other parts of the world which are not necessarily in the headlines, we are seeing that it's harder to trade, that social or education are less and less. And of course, a big challenge in all of this, accumulation of all these issues, is a big supply chain concern. That when every country looks out at the world, a big part of our concern is, have we secured our supplies? There could be supplies for our industry, supplies for our food security, as increasingly in the last few weeks and months, energy supplies. So I do think the term tough world, as we talked about yesterday, is, if anything, a bit of an understatement. Under their control. We are seeing today a weaponization of finance. We are seeing weaponization of resources, weaponization of technology, weaponization of connectivity, of geography, using market shares and their capabilities and their influence to actually obtain goals and exert influence in a manner in which we could not have imagined or planned for earlier. Not just that, the world itself in many ways, the metrics by which we measure the world, they have started changing. We used to think, for example, of the United States as a country for decades, primarily as an energy importer. Now the United States has actually become one of the world's largest energy exporter, and it has obviously very major policy consequences. We look at technology, and today we are poised at the beginning, you can say, of an AI era, looking at technology in its most intrusive form, that it's not just going to come right into our homes and shape our thinking. It is actually probably in the next few years going to change everything around us. There's no domain of activity which is not going to be impacted by AI. Or let me, as I said earlier, refer to connectivity. That the world is being reshaped by a new world which, whether we like it or not, is prepared to take greater risks. A world which is far more uncertain, a world which itself, I think for many countries, we would certainly, I think for India and Suriname, we would like to see it more inclusive. We would like to see sustainable growth. We would like to enjoy more respect in international politics. And in many cases, I would say, countries would say, we would like to have more influence. This is the progress which nations seek. So, if we are seeking those goals in more volatile, turbulent, uncertain times, what is the best way of doing that? in international relations, and that is a question which each one of us will look at when we practice diplomacy. And I would advance that. It is a nation that would be flexible enough to join what today we would call for a particular purpose and a particular agenda. So life today is going beyond alliances. So you come together for, say, in a particular region for a set of agreed goals, and you have the openness to work with different countries to that end. It is a nation which would take a very responsible approach towards multilateralism, because at the end of the day, for whether multilateralism is perfect or not, the world is still better off with any form of multilateralism than the absence of it. And it is a country which finally, when it comes to the biggest of all issues, has a caring attitude towards the planet. That its approach towards the planet, the sustainability of the planet, and the health, the well-being of the planet and all the people is very, very strong. So to me, this would be a definition of what is a good partner. Now, good partner. Now, from a general principles, let me move to a very, very specific example. And again, I go back to COVID. The biggest challenge, if you remember, during COVID, after the initial wave when we sought to protect our peoples, we all scrambled around for PPEs and gloves and sanitizers and whatever was needed as an immediate response was for vaccines. Now, vaccines naturally were produced by a few countries, but were consumed by all. And what we had was a very interesting and, to my mind, a very revealing indication of national characters. There were countries who stockpiled vaccines. I remember one in particular, being from the diplomatic world, I won't mention its name, but they had actually vaccines for 8 times the population of that country. Clearly, it was not a developing country. You can guess that. And there were others who actually had no hope of getting anywhere near vaccines. And it wasn't just, the well-being at home, because if you all remember, the vaccination also became the basis for travel. So the absence of vaccines also meant, in a way, discrimination on travel and discrimination on economic activities. So it's kind of like a downward spiral. Now, at that time, India happened to be a country which actually sort of rose to the occasion, and we had a pharmaceutical industry which was able to churn out vaccines in very, very large numbers and with a very high degree of efficiency. We had also obligations, which obviously we fulfilled. And then when we looked at the world, I still remember my Prime Minister posing this question to us, saying, okay, we have started our vaccination, and we are a country of 1.4 billion plus. What about those who don't have access to vaccines, have no prospect of getting those vaccines? So how long do they wait, and do we have an obligation to do something about it? So to cut a long story short, we actually ended up supplying vaccines to a very large number of countries and to international initiatives, obviously, which were designed to distribute vaccines, almost at the very time when we began our own vaccination. So when I said one of the characteristics of a good partner is a nation which is able to harmonize its national interests with a commitment to global good, I put before you the experience of the COVID and the vaccine supply as a good example. But let me move on beyond that. COVID hopefully is a memory, maybe not a distant one. It still has its scars, but life has moved on. So today, which countries make good partners, and what should they do really to strengthen their credentials and really send that message of partnership? And sometimes, charity. In our case, a country, the most populous country, 1/6 of the world population. Perhaps a big contribution we can make to the world is starting by taking care of ourselves. Straight away deal with 1/6 of the challenges, perhaps more, facing the world. And while that's a general statement, let me give you a very specific number which would perhaps focus your attention. Growth is in short supply. But if you look at the IMF expectation of global growth this year, India contributes to the 17% of the total global growth. So when we look at what are we bringing to, what are we putting on the table, what is the contribution that India is making to the world today? One very important part of it is not just that, hey, these folks have 6.5% growth, what a wonderful thing. It is that growth is 17% of the global growth and is actually impacting the international economy as a whole. Now, when a country like us, an economy like us build more capacities, we also open up options for other partners. And I'll come to the importance of options. So today for us, as we grow, we are very conscious. It's not just about us. Our growth today gives our partners, we help to de-risk the international economy. We help to give more possibilities. We are creating more options. We are ourselves, in many ways, adding to market possibilities and market access, and we are today negotiating and concluding more free trade agreements for countries to avail of it. And along with that, we are trying to create a global footprint so that our impact on the international economy and the de-risking of the world is as impactful, it's far-reaching as possible. So for us today, really we don't think of any region as too far off. So as I said, Mr. Buffa yesterday, for us, you are a family just separated by a little bit of water and perhaps a little more. And India will, during its growth, not only make its presence felt in different parts of the world, but contribute to different regions in that process. Now, how do you contribute? Are sharing best practices, sharing experiences, in some cases even doing that in a very concrete manner through a project. Today, share that as a best practice with other parts of the world. That we pride ourselves today as a society which has actually been extremely enthusiastic in its embrace of the advantages of digital technology, to a point where, when it comes to the most basic of human activities, which is to buy and sell something, most Indians today don't carry a wallet. We carry a phone instead. Just last month, we recorded 22 billion cashless transactions, which is the highest in the world, which is about, I think, probably 4 or 5 times of what the United States does in a year. Or I give you a different example. We have all homes electrified. We have piped water into all homes. But we have created an industry with that capacity which can do that. Already had in the past water projects. But today our own industry in that domain has grown to a point where we can think of something far more ambitious. And in fact, there are renewables itself. India's shift to renewables in the last decade has been among the fastest in the world. So the short point is our partnership for progress. The assumption here is we are progressing, but it doesn't mean that we have to reach a certain level to share with what we have. What we have in terms of resources, what we have. There is a mismatch between demand and supply, particularly when it comes to human resources. If a country is to grow, and sometimes this happens, very has to look to augment its workforce. It will have to look for specialists or skills from a particular domain to plug a gap. Now, whether it's Russia, whether it's Japan, Malaysia, actually there are a range of countries where Indian skills and talents are making themselves. From our perspective, is a major contribution to global good. Now, life, of course, sometimes where as a first responder, we've actually pretty much in the Indian Ocean region tried to be among the earliest to respond, and we have created institutions which are dedicated to responding to humanitarian and disaster relief situations. So we actually have a disaster management authority. We have created a disaster relief force. So recently in our own neighborhood, we had a huge cyclone hit Sri Lanka. We were able on the day of the cyclone to a number of our neighbors were actually in deep economic distress. The most prominent case again was Sri Lanka, when on our part, they were engaged in some and we put on the table $4.5 billion package to help stabilize the Sri Lankan economy, which by the way was more than what they finally. Now I mentioned that to you because these are going to be recurring situations in a tough world. Right now, many of our neighbors are struggling with, in a way, also take into consideration the requirements of a neighbor. That is actually a good work done for the international community. So moving on from there, the initiatives. The most prominent among them is the International Solar Alliance. There's also a coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure to deal with climate events. There's the Global Biofuel Alliance. And even, recently we had an AI Impact Summit. Part of the, however you mark it, you celebrate it here. So for those who are in the foreign policy, in the diplomacy business, I do want to end on that note that it's a tough world, but we need progress, we need partnerships. They do exist. We'll certainly keep doing that with a high degree of commitment and determination. Thank you very much for your attention.
Hope to have some questions from the audience. If you allow me, after this priceless, genuinely turning our thoughts, Dr. Jaishankar, you've once mentioned that the Global South is an emotion, a sense of solidarity. How does this translate in the partnership between our countries, especially if we take the perspective of the massive foreign investments in Suriname's current future of fossil fuels?
Well, I do think there is a sense of solidarity among certain countries, particularly those who have been through shared experiences. So diplomacy is not without emotion, it is not without sentiment. But it is not only about sentiment and emotion, it's also about business. So we need to get that balance right. So obviously, if let us say there is a growing energy sector, that energy sector, for it to be realized, would require resources, would require technology, would require partners. So it's natural, I mean, any country would want so a very rapid rise in the expectation of people. So people, if a country's economy grows, if its asset base increases, they will want a better quality of life, they will want better health, education, public facilities, infrastructure. Now, different partners fill different slots or different possibilities. So, since, you know, as an Indian foreign minister, it's my job, it's my obligation to tell you we are not only a very good partner today, we will also be a good partner as Suriname grows and as your as your needs and requirements and as your interests advance.
Should we have a question from this block, then this block, and then this block? आप कष्ट करेंगे? तीन प्रश्न लेंगे. Could I have
Right.
anyone? Yeah, the lady. Yeah. Is there a mic? Okay, please, if you can proceed to the mic. Please state your name and your question. Thank you.
Yes, good evening. My name is Hannah Surjit Singh. Thank you so much, Excellency, for your keynote. Given Suriname's fertile land, potable water, resources, and expected economic boom from our recent oil and gas recoveries, has India considered Suriname as a pilot country to strengthen economic cooperation under its South-South cooperation strategy? Are we a serious option to start with in the CARICOM? Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Mr. Jaishankar, नमस्कार. हम टूटी फूटी हिंदी में कुछ और इंग्लिश में कुछ क्वेश्चन करता है. आपके एक्सपीरियंस कैसे है सुरीनाम में? One. How can India help Suriname? Can you give some examples? And last one, I will take a picture with you.
Is there another question from this block? We'll take one more. अरे वाह, इधर से भी आए, कोई नहीं.
महामहिम, आपको नमस्कार. श्री राम देश में आपका स्वागत. आपने अभी कई विषयों पर बात की और एक विषय मैं आपके सामने लाना चाहता हूं और वह विषय है कि भारत की ओर से हम सूरीनाम वासियों के लिए साहित्य पर कितना अधिकार है. साहित्य, ये पहली बात है. हम साहित्य तक किस प्रकार से पहुँचे? क्या यहाँ पर कोई ऐसा केंद्र आपकी ओर से, भारत की सरकार की ओर से यहाँ पर उपलब्ध हैं जहाँ से जो भी ग्रंथ पुस्तक की आवश्यकता हो यहाँ के विद्यार्थी उसे अपने उपलब्धि के लिए लाए? और दूसरी बात है, यहाँ के विद्यार्थी जाते हैं भारत में अध्ययन करने के लिए तो आईटी, इकोनॉमिक आदि क्षेत्र पर, लेकिन अर्थ के क्षेत्र पर जब हम दृष्टिकोण को धरें तो अर्थ के क्षेत्र पर इतनी सुलभता नहीं है कि यहाँ के विद्यार्थी एमए, बीई करें हिंदी में या संस्कृत में. इस विषय पर आपका ध्यान आकर्षित करना चाहता हूँ. धन्यवाद.
I'll just translate those questions when I do. Please, sir.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your very good structured presentation. I'm the former ambassador, Minister of Oil and Energy of India. I know that Hardeep was in Guyana, I think 2 or 3 years ago, and that since Guyana is also oil producing country, the second or the third big shipment of Guyana was sent to India. I know that as well. Are there thoughts within the Indian government at this time with regard to future cooperation with Suriname? According to what we are expecting in about 2 years, what will happen in Suriname is that's large developments of oil and later gas. But what is planning with regard to that in a bilateral sphere? Thank you very much.
Okay, so let me quickly respond to these questions. So the first question was experiences. Now I'm not saying we don't do that maybe with northern countries. Maybe what we will do on digital governance or AI. I could take. I had with Minister Bofa is how do we expand that today? We used to provide lines of credit, soft loans. We'd be happy to continue doing that. We would be happy to have capacity building programs in India, and I come to that culturally to the next question. Find ways by which we can try to build that up on site in Suriname itself. So yes, definitely, we would see this as a good example of South-South cooperation. To tell us what you'd like us to do, and we will tell you whether we can or not. So that's how we intend to proceed. The second question from the gentleman was largely, I'm giving you a succinct version of it. Cultural aspects of exposure, how do students learn Hindi and Sanskrit, what are ways by which our cultural heritage, educational institutions today which are free, which have the license really to come out of the country, I think as part of strengthening commerce. Now, we've had energy imports into India from North America, from South America, even from the Caribbean. Some of your neighbors, not only Guyana, but even Trinidad and Tobago, have energy exports to India. The one big lesson out of the current situation is, I think, all big economies, certainly, maybe others as well, will de-risk their energy sources.
I know to you, sir.
Thank you,
Member of Parliament.
Thank you for your presentation. And they set up their small industries with the machineries of India. Something like that, I am seeing Minister Bofa also as foreign minister or foreign minister. If we could have a better cooperation on that area where we could create for our young entrepreneurs not only a fund, a guarantee fund, but also the training programs and the machineries where our young entrepreneurs should be able to set up their own industry in diverse sectors.
Can we have, we have a lot of questions. Can we have the lady and then the gentleman, please?
Hi, Minister Jaishankar and Minister Bofa. My name is May for the Tamilian Diaspora, and also I am the director of the private hospitality and tourism sector. So my first question is, I have two questions. Suriname is one of the to govern with strategic confidence, dignity, and long-term vision. That's my question. Thank you and wanakum.
Good day. It was to contribute. We have land, we have young people, we have motivating people, motivated people. So in which area we can contribute to connect to the geopolitical area, but also in production.
Namaskar, Mantriji. Minister, during your visit here, you talked much about India being a global leader on digital economy. So as a youth, I'll be more specific.
About all the developments in India. I've seen it myself, that's true, but India has economy of scale. You have such a big labor market. Suriname, we're such a small economy. We're just 500,000 people. That's even half of your Gao in India somewhere. My question would be, being 500,000, that brings a lot of constraints. What would be your strategic advice on how we can benefit our full potential with the challenges of being such a small economy? Thank you.
Okay.
Namaskar. I'm Badal. In the field of education, India is renowned for their science and engineering studies. What is the possibility of India is giving scholarships to students, but will have greater benefits if India supplied lecturers and professors for longer term? Is there a possibility in that field?
Thank you. I don't want to spoil anything, but we have some time constraints. So the lady in the lovely dress is the last lady. Acha, theek hai. Anyone who stands? Thank you. Please continue.
Yes, hello. Hello. Yeah. Namaste. मातृभूमि से आने के लिए उसका धन्यवाद. Now my question is, well, you talked about partnership world, which I agree with, and my goal is to start a Gurukul here in Suriname.
I'm really glad to know that. The thing about Suriname is we feel it's something so special.
The good partners in your speech are partners who have managed to have harmonized domestic interest offered to your beautiful country. Do you think that a strategic dialogue platform is necessary for that? And for Guyana, what is your position regarding a triangle between Suriname, Guyana, and India in numerous fields? And not particularly the oil and gas sector, but also beyond. Thank you very much.
Thank you. First of all, thank you all for your questions, and I think you appreciate the sentiment to do more and value it very greatly. So the first question was regarding young entrepreneurs. Can we fund them? Can we help with the training, etc.? My own sense is what we need to do, because this is a kind of a recurring theme in many questions which were asked. We really need to do more with each other. We need to do, we need to see each other more often. I'll come to the affairs there. But we need to, it's only when there is more contact, and Minister, I'm sure you'd agree with that, that people will see the opportunities. If more students travel, if more business people meet, if more people in the policy world interact with each other, I think the occasions, the opportunities, the confidence, the contacts will come. In India itself, we have actually encouraged startups through a sort of a startup initiative. And we have seen in the last decade, that it's yielded tremendous results. Just a few days ago, we had a startup space company which actually created optical, it's a particular kind of commercial imaging satellite, which they had sent up into space. Now I'm citing this to you as an example of what a startup can really do. And we have startups, very, very wide domain of it. So I think the more we have this constant rub, this interaction with each other, there will be a degree of, I would say, encouragement, motivation, exchange of views, practices. So it's really a case for more frequent and more intense relationship. Regarding the tourism and how complicated and difficult it is, believe me, I know that. I mean, I had a very complicated journey coming in. So if we can lower the airfares and make it easier, I'll come more frequently, I assure you. But I'll tell you though the practical constraints. Often, in India right now, our airlines are very keen to spread their wings and go out. The problem which aviation, at least in our part of the world, faces is actually aircraft. Our companies have ordered more than 1,000 aircraft and they're waiting really for these deliveries because there are fewer producers and a very high level of demand. But I do see even in the near term, I think efforts made to increase connectivity to this part of the world. We had a discussion about it as well, and certainly on our side we'll be quite forthcoming and I will be very encouraging of our airlines in that regard. Look, on the leadership qualities, I want to be very honest with you. You need different skills, different, in a way, different intuition or feel in different countries. I mean, it would be presumptuous of me to go to some other country and say, this is what I think would work. I think every country, every leadership, every people in a way figure that out for themselves. But at the end of the day, leadership is tested on the ground. And in democracy, certainly, when you see, it voted upon with in a recurring fashion, the best proof of leadership is finally the validation of people, certainly in a democratic society. Regarding the question on BRICS and what is possible, the dominant international grouping was the G7, which was almost exclusively Western. What BRICS has done is it provided a platform for many big together. By itself, that action actually widens the options for themselves. It actually increases the weight of their voice in the international debate, as well as gives a whole lot of other countries more possibilities for cooperation. And just like I said, leadership is best tested in elections. The best proof, I've heard a lot of comments about BRICS since it was founded. The best proof of how good or not the BRICS is was when the BRICS chose to expand. Believe me, we had no shortage of applicants. And that, to me, was the test of where BRICS stood. Again, there was an issue about technical cooperation. What can we do for Suriname's youth? The minister and I discussed yesterday whether we could be doing more in education, whether we could be also doing more in vocational training. And we need also perhaps to make this a little bit informal as well. I mean, people don't need to travel for a degree or a course. There have to be mechanisms by which young people meet. Now, in India, particularly my Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji, he has a lot of interest in promoting Girmitya-related activities. So we are looking, for example, at Girmitya Games. We would like to have this common thread because the ambassador designate to Guyana also raised that issue. What can we do together? So I think there is a commonality here which we have never really explored, or at least not explored enough. And we would certainly like to develop that more and find ways by which more youth can travel, talk with each other, play sports with each other, maybe do business with each other, co-invent with each other. On the question of economies of scale, look, I think everybody does what is best for them in their national circumstances. yes, you made a point, India has economies of scale. But there are, smaller countries who have developed their own niche strength. I would say sharing of experiences is useful. At the end of the day, every country has to customize it and adapt it to their national circumstances and play to their national their national goals and their capabilities. So I do think that, while if what India does is useful, I won't carry this so literally as a comparison. On the science scholarships, yes, we would be very happy to find ways. Again, we've had a discussion, how do we provide more opportunities? I know, particularly today, the demand globally for STEM, for engineering capacities. And I think Suriname economy, which on a high growth trajectory, will have these demands. I can foresee the need really, for example, for more engineers, for more doctors. I mean, it's coming upon you and coming upon you fairly soon. We have, again, an experience, at least on the Indian side, of having institutions which have linked up with their counterparts or established campuses abroad. It's certainly something which we could look at, particularly if there's a regional approach. We have, for example, one of our, the Indian Institutes of Technology, which are our most famous institution. We had a campus open in Zanzibar for all of Africa, because for us, it was a regional catchment area that we wanted to exploit. So we could look at the Caribbean. We could look at the Caribbean and say, okay, there's a regional hub out here that gives you the numbers, the viability to do something in education. On the idea of the Gurukul, I very much welcome it. I'll discuss it with the ambassador as well. Generally on matters, Gurukul is like a traditional educational institution. So we would like to find ways of supporting culture, heritage, traditions in different forms. I'd like to know a little bit more, and I would tell the ambassador to let us know what we can do to be helpful. We would certainly like to be. In terms of the question from the lady from Hyderabad about IT, again, look, we are in an era where I think, leave IT aside, I think we all need to focus on AI. It is something, it'll happen as completely, perhaps even more so than smartphones took over our lives. So this era is coming upon us. Whether you train for it or not, we will all be working on it, using it in a very, very comprehensive manner in a very short while. So the education system needs to gear up for it. And as I said, part of what we were trying to do during the AI summit, because the AI summits had earlier taken place in UK, Korea, and France. We wanted to show in a developing country that AI has a lot of possibilities for developing countries. At the end of the day, much of AI is about deployment. AI is not just only about chips and power. AI is also about what you learn through deployment and what is the creativity which comes out of deployment. So I would say this whole space of education, science, STEM, science, IT, engineering, AI, this is a space which can be explored, and I can assure you that India would be very interested in working with Caribbean countries in that regard. I think again the last issue was on the ambassador designate where Guyana is concerned. The point which I would like to make is, for us today, no region is too far, not just in terms of economics or energy. The world is, we can argue about the terms of globalization, but globalization is here to stay. We will all have to learn to work with each other. I think those who do it more enthusiastically, more in a much more forthcoming way, I think we stand to benefit from that. And certainly my presence here, Minister, other than the warmth of your invitation which drew me here, is a message that India is deeply invested in this region. We would like to scale up the level of our commitment. We are very, you heard me say this to you. I was sent by my Prime Minister with a very open mind and very sweeping mandate. We would like really to see a scaling up of our cooperation in the Caribbean, particularly with countries with whom we have a long and strong historical bonding. And once again, I'm really, really very pleased today I have this opportunity to share these thoughts.
Closing with another quote of Dr. Jaishankar. I'm just a fan, sir. Don't be oblivious to all challenges of the world. And that we take home today. I would like to invite my minister to give a small, short vote of thanks.
Vote of thanks, yes. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Ashna. How many words can you use to thank my dear colleague, and I can say no, my dear friend, Jaishankar, for this wonderful day, the insights that he shared with us, the vision about partnership and progress. I think words will not be enough, but I would like to say thank you. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for sharing with us. And sharing is also about partnership, and we have felt that. Also, and I must say, you just heard from one, she's a fan. But I know for many that they're a fan of you too, because we started off to thinking about this day with 100, I think. I see my team sitting over there, 150. And then we were preparing and we say, okay, let's hold it on 200. And then we saw all the interesting people coming in. I'm interested to come. How can I? And we needed to move from where we were to where we are today. And we had, I think, about 400 registered people being here, and most of them are here. And that shows the warmth and the respect that we have for you as one of the international diplomats of your country, and the relationship that we feel with India. So, yes, partnership for progress is about having what you mentioned, a few conditions, and what we see, Suriname meets those conditions. Suriname indeed will be and is, let's say, a valuable partner to the world, and is also a valuable partner to India, as India is to us, but also to the world. And I must say that, in closing, I also want to thank all of you present. I see many of my dear colleagues, ministers of the cabinet. I see members of parliament. Surely the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is well represented. I also thank the delegation of India. I see many members of the diplomatic corps. I see people of the business community, students, youth leaders. I see Suriname. I want to thank you for your questions, not only your presence, but also your questions and your suggestions, your ideas. As you see, many of the things that they have brought forward were things we will set steps forward. Dr. Shankar, External Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of India. Thank you and have a nice evening.